work. Fuck. Fuck.
Back of my head in the front of my tongue got me feeling so damn young, and I don't know where it's coming from. All I know is it's just begun.
2, 1.
There was sort of this hatchet to bury.
I wasn't getting better and I wasn't gonna
I
live.
really wanted to prove that I was the best at something.
It's not like me, it's not like me.
Following in my mom's footsteps, I kind of felt like, am I just doing something because this is laid out for me?
Truly, their early interactions were sitting on the side of the pool while I taught classes.
Her training, like she works out with the trainer, she's running, logrolling, boom run. She's always just had that drive.
To be a world champion, we're talking about, obviously you have to have a head for it.
You gotta spend all year training, but it comes down to that being on the day, being able to focus. And a lot of competitors can't handle that pressure.
All right, folks, both matches are continuing simultaneously, so keep your eyes on the blue and the red dot as these matches proceed. There's the whistle of the red dot. That is Jim. And look at that white water, folks. Down they go.
All 4 competitors are off. Let's start. Everybody put your hands together. Cheer these Lumberjacks on. Up to the 60. Okay, folks, pick on a favorite and cheer them on. These ladies are working hard out here. A lot of them have traveled thousands of miles, and they're still trying to get qualified into the finals on Saturday.
The Lumberjack, I like to say the Logrolling World Championships. The Logrolling World Championships definitely, it holds a special spot.
On the stores, it's the Northern Lakes Cabin Stop right here.
I mean, if I win the World Championships, not that many people are gonna know about it, and it's not gonna be headline news, and it's not gonna isn't gonna make any difference in my day-to-day life. So I just have to keep putting that in perspective, and it'll be really nice to win, but if I don't, my life is gonna be not changed much.
World champion, 5-time world champion, and the champion for the last 3 consecutive years. From Pittsburgh, New York in this event, Dave Jewett. Super Dave. At sawing position number 4 from Ridgely, West Virginia, Chris Bradshaw. At position number 5 from Winkley, Australia, Dale Beams. And at position number 7.
Oh my gosh. Literally every party we go to or anyone we meet stands us together and they're like, who's better? And they make us, hash it out. On paper, my titles are better. I have 3 world titles and I won the Great Outdoor Games, and I would say Abby just doesn't have those titles, but that doesn't mean, if you watch us train together, you wouldn't be able to tell who's better.
Single buck brought to you by Northern Lakes Cabin Stop right here in Hayward. Stop into the cabin stop. Ladies and gentlemen, direct your attention now to women's log rolling sponsored by Timberworks Lumberjack Show. Now over to you, Torval.
That's gonna be Joe there.
Torval, it looks like
I'm not competing this year, hopefully. So I cannot get in her way. So, she lives and breathes it a lot more than I do. And so and she hasn't had one, so I want her to have that title.
Katie Rick is number 65. After the red dog has continued now, Crystal Gross and Abby Hoeschler. Down goes Crystal. It looks like 3 falls and match to Abby Hoeschler. Let's have a hand for both of those.
I'll roll the winner of this match that's going on right now tomorrow in the quarterfinals. If I win that, I'll roll again tomorrow in the semifinals and then the finals on Sunday. So, yeah, I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling really good about my bracket and just taking one match at a time. I always say to the kids coaching, like, it doesn't, everyone falls. Like, at the end of the day, like, we all fall in the water. So, yeah, but it's nice to be the last one on top.
Yeah, we're leaving pretty high. Those are a little big, but fuck it.
Sometimes early success is a bad thing. And I think, when I won it so early, I was only in my mid-20s. I think I felt like I really had to back it up, and back it up every year and be the world champion at every show.
Unofficially, if you could see the look on Dave Jewett's face when he came up there holding his X in the air and he's just glaring down at Jamie Cogan.
Wake up in the morning and just train all day, and everything would revolve around the tournament that coming weekend. A lot of times the tournament went bad. I actually got super depressed because I was like, well, this is all I'm doing. This is my life, and I'm not doing well at the tournaments. What have I been doing all week? I really just thought about quitting. I've taken this risk on of getting away from the normal life. So when I have a bad competition, I feel like I'm just letting myself down and having people looking at me like I've made a mistake.
Oh, I'm gonna be last. I'll be last place in the underhand. That log was so fucking hard. I'm gonna get last place.
I would get just devastated, when tournaments didn't go well. If I didn't do well, I really would take it hard and really beat myself up.
When they can't get 10 logs, and they put a log in there that's that fucking hard. I mean, I could have won the fucking truck and I draw that piece of shit. That just cost me $25,000, that log right there.
There'd be times at shows where I just get enraged. Just feeling like such a failure. You feel like, well, if I can't do this, if I'm not winning, what am I doing? What have I been doing? If I quit the sport, now what am I gonna do? I'm gonna go back to picking corn on the farm again, and so I kind of wanted to prove to the world I made the right decision. If you really have to do other things, to back you up. So you have to have other things as a parachute when you have a bad day in wood chopping.
3, 2, 1,
go. 14 inches of land turned aspen again for these guys. Remember, there's 28 competitors in this event, and they're all trying to get into the top 6 for Saturday's finals. We'll be crowning a world champion in every event. Willard with a turn already. He's got a beautiful piece of wood, and this man is swinging his axe nicely. Cutting the corners, the chips are flying. Help these guys out, folks. Pick out a favorite. Lentz is cutting very well on 2.
Cut it nice and quick.
Oh, there's Willard on 6 already done. A great cut there. Lentz on 2 is finished. That's a couple of good times. They're going to be in the top 12 tomorrow for sure. And then they'll have the chance to get in the top 6 for Saturday. There's LaSalle on 3. Let's keep it going for Super Dave. All the way from Pittsburgh, New York. Now you understand, we do everything we can to get very even wood for the competitors so that it comes down to how well they're able to do their job. But Mother Nature will hide some twisted wood and occasionally knocks in there that we can't see. So it's the luck of the draw. How about a hand for these 4 guys?
Balancing on a log in the water, I mean, it feels like unlike anything you've ever done before. You know, you really feel, when you have control of the log, when you're balancing on it, I mean, you have like mastered something. And it's the closest you're ever gonna get to running on water. You know, it's second nature to me. When I go out there now, I'm not like, it feels so natural and so normal.
That's someone who is always the underdog because of her size. And she, from the time she was young competing, she was always the smallest roller, and that's, you know, you just kind of go, wow, you have a big disadvantage here. But she had like such a heart and soul for competing and not giving up. And she would fight in the most difficult situations.
That experience definitely shaped how I am, not just like my style as a log roller, but also like nature as a log roller. Being smaller, it was always having to like fight and be scrappy.
I think it's really just her absolute determination. From a young age, she was the most motivated. Abby was the student who was always on top of everything. You never had to think about, she always got her work in, she always prepared.
Her training, she's the Energizer Bunny. And she works out with the trainer, and she's running, and she's log rolling and train and boom run, and she's always just had that drive. And I'm really excited for her, and she's in great shape. She will get her title very soon. You know, I will just be there coaching her and helping her along. Log rolling is an individual sport, but it's still very social because you can and you want to do it with other people. I mean, as beautiful as getting out on a log by yourself and on this serene lake and this solo activity, really the fun part of log rolling is when you're rolling against another person. I mean, that's the cool thing about it. When you are on a floating log in the water, on the same log as your competitor, and you're pretty close to them and you can hear the other person breathing, it's just incredible. I mean, just the amount of concentration, it's so mental. And you have to be at the peak of your athleticism. It really is this ultimate balance challenge, and then you add another person on it and it's like totally throws in another element.
Now, you want to be careful being a professional athlete because you can only do it so long. You know, my goal was to really be a professional lumberjack, but every year learn something else.
Like, I've taken advantage of what the sport delivers, you know, the traveling and the meeting people, and I've learned different trades along the way. I mean, anybody who just goes to a wood chopping competition and just chops a log and goes home, you're really not taking advantage of it. I'll do a lot of tree work with a friend of mine, and we'll take down trees, you know, maybe just a tree in somebody's front yard that's just a nuisance tree. But 99% of every tree that comes down, I could use that. I could somehow make something out of that. There's a lot of respect that goes into, you know, getting this log and making sure it's just a perfect log. You have to be able to look at a log. You have to be able to see the carving inside this log. And if you can't see it, what other carving, you know, what other carving can I get in this, you know, out of this log? Very nice. This is a huge score. Big time, man. All right, what can I do to make this easier for you to clean up later? You know, I started carving little things when I was 8 years old. I started whittling and going down to my grandfather's basement, carving things out of wood. Kind of every year I learned more on how to make things, and then got into chainsaw carving. And I had sold Christmas trees growing up, so I had all these things. So I figured out a way to create a Christmas tree business and bring all of those trades that I knew, all those little things, and bring them all in. As much as I focus on training, making things for my Christmas stand is just as much pressure, really. It's not the end of the world anymore if I don't win. So now I can make money doing this, and it can free my mind up to go into lumberjack sports and compete and not have to worry about that paycheck at the end of the day. Most people are just so narrow-minded. They don't see anything out of a log, or they just see firewood, you know, and that's why few people do what I do.
For the evening, these were the fastest 2 times from yesterday. And on the the red dot side, that is number 83. She posted a time of 14.8, and she is the current home run world champion. Please welcome Meredith Ingebrigtsen. And on the Bulldog side, number 53, with a time yesterday of 15 seconds. She is a 3-time world champion and a world record holder at 13.98. Abby Hoeschler.
Judges and timers ready. Contestants ready. 3, 2, 1.
There they go, folks. Will they miss their time from yesterday? Around the barrels and on their way back, give them some encouragement. Will they make it? It is a good clean run for both of these women there. 15.09 for Abby Hoeschler, 15.03 for Meredith Ingebrigtsen. Let's have a hand for all of those boom runners.
I wouldn't say that my childhood was any different than any other just normal kid growing up in rural suburban area. I did all the other normal sports like soccer and tennis and skiing. But definitely there were some things that made us different.
Well, initially, I mean, you know, first of all, it's just natural. When you do something, it's natural. You're doing it, so your kids are there with you. You don't abandon your kids. And
well, my mom, she loved to teach and share the sport with others. And so she would tote my siblings and I along with her when she would teach classes. And as soon as we could walk and swim, we were on logrolling logs. I don't even remember ever learning.
I mean, I was doing competitions by the time I was 4. So it's like I remember learning to ride a bike and not learning to log roll because I was just so young.
you know, they're getting big enough, you know, 2, 3 years old, you set them on the log, and you know, and then of course, you know, do you guys want to compete? You know, we're going to the World Championships. Of course, you're gonna, you know, you're gonna put them on the log, and I think my kids had a really.
I never felt that she like pushed us into log rolling by any means, but just like her status as a 7-time world champion. I mean, that definitely, as a kid, like you want to like live up to that, and you know, you feel that it's kind of in your blood and you want to be a part of it.
You're looking down the length of the log. Your instincts are going to be you're going. Bend your knees, little steps, up and down, pick your feet up, little steps. Does that feel, yeah, a little bit better? Yeah. See, and the way that I could tell that is
Key log came to be because my mom recognized that so many people were intrigued with log rolling and loved it.
It's been part of my mission is to grow the sport because I see what an amazing competitive sport it is, and it just needs more access and a bigger, you know, audience. And people love to watch it, so.
Well, our goals are for log rolling to be an Olympic sport. That was really what fueled Key log rolling. My dad was asking my mom one day, you know, they're very passionate about promoting the sport. They worked on the organization of it, development, doing tournaments, but just felt like they were spinning their wheels, like it wasn't growing.
ready, time it. Okay, the Honey Badger and the Viper in the finals.
Okay. And that's what's kept me motivated all these years, to try to figure out how to introduce it to more people. But the biggest obstacles are obviously the log.
We knew that it was because of the weight of the wood log. It just was inaccessible to people. And so we needed to step into the 21st century and find a lightweight synthetic product. As much as wooden canoes are great, people aren't canoeing on wooden canoe. If you had to like haul a wooden canoe on your roof, you wouldn't have as many canoers, or you know, people playing with wooden tennis rackets, I mean, wooden skis, like things have just evolved, and logrolling had never evolved beyond that. Watching people learn how to log roll is is so fun and funny because you just see them trying to figure it out, and it does feel like this kind of like adventure, risky sport. And so when people get on it, they like feel a little bit afraid and they're sorting it out. And then when they fall in and they're just laughing and like, oh my gosh, let me get up there one more time. Like, let me get up there again. The broader the base of people that you have that are now learning and that are going, you know, young kids that are gonna be learning and growing up, it's gonna bring the level up so much higher. You're gonna get even better athletes, and I think it's really gonna like amp up the level of log rolling that we see in the next 5, 10, 15 years.
That's what I'm really happy for log rollers today, that they get to compete a lot. I mean, back then maybe I would get to compete 3 times a year, you know, sometimes only once at the World Championships. And I grew up in Hayward, Wisconsin. My imagination was captured by this sport that I was learning to do. Actually had a history, and there were men who actually invented this sport in the very woods that I was growing up in. And it was a great seed for me for the rest of my life and my goals to grow the sport of log rolling. You know, my thing about log rolling is it actually comes from somewhere.
I mean, Hayward's so great because it brings all the different, you know, skills of old school lumberjacking together. Where we are, we're actually in a holding pond off the Namakagon River, where back in the 1800s, these log drives actually happened. So thousands of logs would come down and they would actually come in to this lagoon where the scene is set now for the Lumberjack World Championships. So the log rollers, which were rolling these logs, you know, down the Namakagon, now you have the log rolling event there, and and they would create these log booms. So there's a boom running event to chop and saw the logs in the woods to get them down to the Namakagon. You've got your chopping, you've got your sawing events, and back in the 1800s you had tree climbers and tree toppers. So they've got 90-foot poles set up there too. It's the biggest speed climbing in the world is there. It's such a great time of year because all the boom runners, the speed climbers, the log rollers, the choppers and sawyers, we all get together. If you're going to have a good day, you want to have it at Hayward. Every country, they'll send their best over. So if you win, you do know you're the best in the world, you know, or you were the best on that day.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing. Gentlemen, please remove your hats.
To be a world champion, we're talking about, you know, obviously,
of the United States of America.
You have to have a head for it.
It's an enormous setting with thousands of people. You know, at the end of the season, the most common question is, who won what at Hayward? To be a champion, and you really have to be able to put a wall up around you and just do the job as fast as you can. And the really good champions can do that. They have a face of stone, and they just see the log right in front of them.
Ladies and gentlemen, direct your attention now to women's log rolling sponsored by
He was leading on all the way through. We have another heat of the hot sauce coming right up.
That's awesome.
They always sort of saw like this. Right. They never pitted. No. So it's.
I really only focus on the sawing events when I go to Hayward. So I've always wanted to win the single buck, the double buck, and the Jack and Jill. And if possible, win all three of them. Because nobody's ever won all three, and I've done it twice.
3 years. From Pittsburgh, New York, Dave Jewett.
Contestants ready. 3, 2, 1, go. This is 20 inches of white pine with the old misery with the single lucky bench. 6 of the strongest guys in the world in the event. Let's help them out. Who's it going to be? Super. Oh, how about that for close cutting? The first 3 stands came off simultaneously. $2,000 for these saws, and they're ripping through that.
You know, your equipment, it gets dull. You know, all these teeth, everything's calibrated. It's a work of art to make these saws. And when you get a saw that's fast, if you keep running, it's not going to be fast anymore. It'll need to be sharpened, but then you've got to get on the list with 100 other people around the world that want their saw sharpened. You know, J.P. Mercier files my saws, but he files saws all over the world. And I've been asking JP for a new saw. I was running a saw that was 14 years old. And I said, JP, I need a saw that's a half second faster. He says, yeah, I can make it for you. Yeah, okay. You know, and then it didn't happen that year. Then it didn't happen the next year. And then I went up to his place in January. What are you doing? Oh, I'm working on a saw for a guy in Poland, or I'm working on a single buck saw for this guy in New Hampshire. I go, dude, this guy in fucking Poland, he doesn't know how to single buck. I go, what are you making these saws for these dickheads that don't know how to saw? If I don't have a saw, I'm not going to Hayward. You're not going to have anywhere to saw with. I will not take second place one more year. You know? And he goes, yeah, you're right. And he made it, and I won that year. But I was mad.
Go.
My first experience at Hayward as a novice, I broke a world record. So it will always be a show that you know, I want to prove that I'm still that guy, you know, that broke the record as a novice. It wasn't just a good log on that day. I mean, they call me Super Dave every time they announce me at that show, so I always like to be able to back it up. I mean, you have these tools, you know, these axes and these saws and chainsaws, and being able to handle them, it's sort of, you know, everybody said it, making an axe an extension of your body. You know, you have to be one with it and not be afraid of it, not be intimidated. But you also have to know, logs. You can look at a log and you can see what's going to happen. You know, you can read the grain or know where where a knot was or where the hardwood is, and you can position that log right. And then you just know this axe is going to penetrate this far into the log.
Oh, I just hate this fucking event. I could have driven that. I didn't need that hit right there. I could have driven that right off with those first 2 hits, and then just driven it off. I didn't need that one there.
I mean, I chop as many logs as I can, and I ride my bike as much as I can, you know, because especially sawing, you know, your legs are doing most of the work when you're sawing. I try to build up my leg muscles and try to piston my legs, you know, at like 1 pedal stroke per second. You know, for a solid month and a half before Hayward, I'll be on my bike as much as possible. So when the gun goes off, I can explode into that, you know, have that 10 to 14 seconds. And the reality is, you know, with Hayward is, if you want the truth, you want the real truth, is I probably will never win it again. When I was 37, my kidneys failed on me, so I had to put the sport on hold, and I went on dialysis and had to get a kidney transplant. So, I mean, that was kind of like, am I going to live, you know, or if I do live, am I going to be able to get back into the sport? Am I ever going to get back to where I was? So, I mean, my dad gave me a kidney, and we had a successful transplant, but I lost 50 or 60 pounds and lost all my endurance, so, you know, muscle memory was gone, and, you know, the confidence wasn't there, and I lost so much strength from being sick. And I came back to the sport a year later, but just, I was back to square one again. You know, I was really just getting let down at every tournament and just getting depressed, and real depressed, because things weren't going well. I wasn't getting better, and I wasn't getting any stronger.
The next stop, the driving authorities to take off Super Dave Jewett on 4. There goes Chris on 1, Adam on 5, Nathan on 2.
And technique, I lost all my technique. But it took 2 years. Those 2 years were hell.
Oh my gosh, it's the worst. Yeah, really nervous. I've been to the World Championships a handful of times, not competing.
Look at them go now. Things are starting to pick up, ladies and gentlemen. When you see hands in the air, that means trouble. And down goes Katie.
It's obviously a totally different experience. Like, I don't get as nervous as I do for myself, but you're so out of control.
World champion of this event from Round Lake, Illinois, Lindsay Dow. At position number 4 from Santa Rosa, California, Andrea Ferber-Card.
You know, it's like, at least when you're rolling, like, you have the control. You're out there on the log, like, you have to do it. And once you step on the log, like, at least for me, once I step on the log, like, I'm not nervous. I'm just in my, you know, I'm just competing. But as a spectator, it's the worst sport.
A former 6-time world champion in this event, Cherie Taylor.
She's gonna put herself in. You're tired, she's way more tired, okay? Seriously, you just rolled exactly like that. That was amazing. You rolled so well, and she put herself in, okay? You're not gonna outpower her.
Hey, girls.
Come on, you got it. Leave it all out there.
Now let's go back now to the women's log rolling event here tonight. Back over to you, Toivo.
Thank you very much, Scott. Emily Christopherson, I believe, has just won her second fall in her match over Leah Burns.
This is a common thing for mothers and fathers of log rollers. My mother she couldn't even watch us roll. She had to go behind the bleachers while we were rolling, and she always knew the outcome by what the crowd was doing. And I think every parent, I watch all these young, parents of young kids. I know exactly what they're going through.
Big burly butts of the tree so they could get to where they could fall it. Of course, this is just a single board and a single competitor.
You know a train wreck is coming, and you don't know if your kid's going to be in the train wreck. And it may be a bad analogy, but it's like someone's going down, and you feel so bad when they lose, and you feel so happy when they win. And every parent, I mean, 6-year-old kids, 12-year-old kids, they all feel the same way.
Well, there's been some very good cuts already made over the past day and a half, so these guys are all fighting for that position. Very good slope forwards, strength. They want to get 2/3 of the way through the front of the slope, and then they'll do what we call switch the side. Who's it gonna be?
You know, I've been so fortunate. I have a really supportive family. You know, it's great to have this family and support, but you know, sometimes it does feel like it just never ends. You know, around the dinner table, like logrolling is just always, it's my business, it's my family, it's my recreation. Logrolling for me never, even though it was like the thing that people identified with me with, I myself never identified it as like my number one like thing that I put out there. But you know, when I graduated from college and my parent, you know, they had this idea for a while, and they basically put it to me like, is this something you would take on? And I have to admit, I almost like reluctantly said yes. I was on a different path. I was not, as much as logrolling was a part of my life, I wasn't expecting to make it my career by any means. You know, I did feel some sort of obligation to that. Not that I didn't like ever feel like I had failed, but I was like, you know, definitely when my friends from college were going to New York and San Francisco and moving on and going, I moved back to Minnesota to start this company. It feels like, why am I still doing this? Like, for what? I mean, there's at the most 30 women that do it.
On both sides, down goes immigrants and down goes immigrants. Action is continuing. Again, 53, Abby Hoeschler in the red hat. Number 83, American immigrants in the white headband. And Ellie Davenport and Emily Christopherson just about to step out and continue their match as well. Over halfway across the Lumberjack Bowl. So they got a long way to go to return to reset the match, and then, you know, there are hungry musculunge and snapping turtles in that water, so that just adds to the element of danger.
Athletes feed your wild side, from the wild side. Now let's go back over the log rolling. Women's log rolling, brought to you by Timberworks Lumberjack Shows. You join them.
Thank you very many, Scott. Very exciting match out there. Look at that, Meredith Ingridson has just won her third fall over Abby Hoeschler. She will advance to the finals tomorrow. What an exciting match. Let's have a big hand for Meredith Ingridson and Abby Hoeschler. And direct your attention over to Ellie Davenport and Emily Christopherson. It is an even score, 1-1 for those women also on the floor line this evening, vying for the slot in tomorrow's finals match. On they go. That is the second fall for Ellie Davenport's third fall and match to Ellie
And I've been let down so many times, you know, in this sport overall. Not all the time, but I've been pretty
pretty used to getting let down, to being, having the lead until the last heat and just losing it. So I know better than to get my hopes up.
The leader tonight in the overall competition coming into championship Saturday, Dave Jewett.
I really just attack the sawing events, and I'm afraid if I think about the overall points, it's going to throw me off, on that final day.
Judges and timers ready. Contestants ready. 3, 2, 1, go. How about a hand for those magnificent machines? What a way to start the show.
Number 64, Garrett Birdsong.
No, I came up on the third disc. I came up, and I just had to get it in. And it was, that's plenty thick, but I didn't feed it straight, and it just blew out the bottom. So, but then I could have been fifth, and I got another disc off, which would have put me fifth. But the disc blew out. It blew out some fibers where the crayon was. Like I cut on this side of the line, but the chips blew out the line. So he DQ'd me. I thought he was being a little. So I said, yeah, I'm willing to take a DQ, but that's really nitpicking. That's really.
I mean, I feel awful because I know I've been there. It's like I know that feeling. I know she fell in and she grabbed her face and was like what happened, Like you could just see the agony on her face. And she obviously took it really hard. No one can really say anything to make you feel better. It just takes time. And because I know at that point, you're kind of you're super upset, you want to cry, you don't want to cry in front of everyone, you want to be a good sport, and I know that's what she was doing, but I just know the feeling of you just want to walk away and go into a hole. And she said, I feel like I should be beating these girls. And I said to her, there's no one in this group right now that's so superior that's definitely going to win the matches. It's just not. Logrolling it really comes down to who's gonna fight harder and who's gonna be the most competitive and have the, be on that day.
Judges and timers ready. Contestants ready. 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm just determined to keep dominating all those sawing events. I want to be 50 years old and I want to win that single buck double and Jack and Jill again.
3, 2, 1.
There they go, folks, the 2014 and 2013 World Championships. All the way to
See how you keep holding me in, giving me freedom and the strength to carry on.
28 to the right time, and the Jack and Jill team, who's going to be taking away from
Abby I think she was saying she was so down on herself, I suck so bad, and you're just oh, if you only knew how amazing you are. It's just you don't want your kid to beat themselves up over a logrolling match, and it's not who she is. It's you're not a loser because you go into the final match, but you just want her to have that. She's worked so hard since she was a kid, and I just want her to have that feeling of being there on the final day.
Life begins as dawn is breaking. See how you
The boom run, the rope, it's now stretched way further than this side. I'm not running.
and the strength to carry on. It was the fire inside you. It was the fire out. Give me strength to stand and fight, and the strength to carry on.
Following in my mom's footsteps, I kind of felt am I just doing something because this is laid out for me. But I'm kind of the person that is fulfilling this dream that she had. I have a love and appreciation for logrolling since starting key log more than I ever had, because I'm introducing the sport to so many new people. Being able to experience someone logrolling for the first time, it's like I get to experience it for the first time, because I don't remember learning how to logrol.
They called those points right. I mean, I did everything I could. The hot cell would have been a nice little buffer, but
The current world champions, how about a hand for all of our two-man cross-cut saw teams right out in there.
that was pretty wild. I did my best to kind of keep it in, to just kind of like, you know, because there's a lot, you know, there's a lot behind it. And people remind me all about, you know, what's behind it, you know, the kidney transplant and, you know, being 46 and being, you know, 20 years since the last time I won it.
And also Future Wood. Now, the Tony Wise All Around, sponsored by Johnson Timber Corporation, helping to manage the environment and resources. For the second time, last All Around champion with 62 points, Dave Jewett.
Super Dave Jewett.
I had some buddies call me down to our local bar. They had thrown a fundraiser for me when I had my kidney transplant. They had called me down, and when I went down to local bar, there was this kind of this surprise party for me.
Got him on the win line.
And that's probably when it really sunk in that I'd won the overall, was when all my friends were there. And it got pretty emotional, and I got kind of choked up, you know, and it was, you know, when they all were like, they were all like, you know, it's kind of like you didn't just do it for you, you did it for us. It was, and bringing it back to the United States. I mean, let's face it, the World Championship, that title was held by a New Zealander for 16 years. So not only did I bring it back as a kidney transplant survivor, I didn't bring it back to Pittsford, New York. I brought it back to the United States. And I needed to be reminded of that, and they did. I honestly don't know. I'm not really sure, but I don't know how. I mean, I guess I see it. Yeah, yeah, I mean, I won it. I'm just going, how the fuck did that happen? You know, like, how did that happen?